Good evening, my name is Dova, and welcome to Walking and Talking in Video Games. Tonight we'll be walking through Palworld while I gently talk you to sleep, discussing whatever my ADHD brain decides it wants to think about. I'm so glad you're here, and I want you to know that you are safe here. And you're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. Now, let's get to walking. Yeah, we're trying out a new game today. Well, it's not like new. I've been playing. That was a weird laugh. I'm so sorry. I've been playing Palworld for quite some time, but as far as for my YouTube channel, it's new, and I had the thought of playing Palworld before this, but I was putting it off because I couldn't figure out how to get some of my usual settings, like walking or like having the HUD off, or having the game be peaceful, as in like entering console commands to make creatures not detect you. I there's no way to do that stuff in Power. Well, actually, there is a mod where you can turn off your HUD, but I really am not good with mods, and so I didn't figure I'd have the time to try to make it work before I had to record today. So we're just dealing with less of a HUD than we would normally have, but it's not really a big deal. But as far as making creatures not detect me, that part I have not figured out. I don't think there's any way to do it at this point. And also, man, either she's just walking around. I don't know how to make her walk normally. Like, the slow walk looks freaking weird. But, yeah, I don't know. So we're just gonna go for it and hope for the best. If any combat does start, I have done what I could to make it as peaceful of an experience as possible. So if combat starts, I have turned the music all the way down so the battle music won't start. And as for the actual combat, I'm just gonna cut it out in the editing process. But yeah, so I don't know how to make her walk without it looking weird. So we'll just have her do a light jog, I guess. Either way, we're still moving through the world pretty slowly. I was debating if I wanted to have my character walking around or have it be like ride a pal around. And I think I might just do a combination, like later on pull out a pal and have it walk around. But another idea that I had was to fly on a pal, and then I figured I could fly over any threats that might pop up. But I don't know, we'll try that later. Just in case I decide to do that, I also turned the stamina reduction all the way down to make the flight last as long as possible. Yeah, we're just gonna see what happens here. And at least for right now, I think things are going pretty well. One pal saw us. There was a Vixie back there. It was like a little fox creature, but she just ran away. So we just have to hope predator pals don't spot us. But like I said, if they do, you don't have to worry. It's still going to be a peaceful experience. I will make sure of that for you. But yeah, welcome back. I am recording this. I'm not actually sure if this is going to be the next video I post or if I'm going to post another Skyrim reading video next, but for right now, I am recording this in the first week of June. Today is June 2nd, and last week was my birthday, and I just have to say, I love the people in my life. They made it awesome, and I really appreciate them for it. I worked on my birthday, unfortunately, and it was a pretty busy day at work. I left kind of mentally exhausted, but I'm just gonna jump down there. But it was still really nice. I walked in, they had decorated my desk area, and I actually share a birthday with another lady at my office, which this is the first time I've ever known somebody that I share a birthday with. So that's kind of interesting. And but you know what? Everyone still made sure that we both had a good, like, that we both got to feel special on our birthday. In the morning, whenever most of my friends at work are only like in the office in the mornings and they go out to do their jobs during the day. So in the morning, everyone sang to me happy birthday, and my coworker had gotten me a cake. And then in the afternoon, we sang happy birthday to the other lady whose birthday it was. So it was nice because all the people who are most important to me were there in the morning, and then but since we didn't do like singing her happy birthday right after me or right before me, it's still, we got to have our own dedicated time, you know? So that was really nice. And then one of the people that I'm friends with had ice cream delivered to our office in my coworkers and I's favorite flavors, and then just some random flavors that other people ended up eating. And that was really awesome. I've still got my ice cream in the freezer, so that day and today so far, I've taken it out and enjoyed a nice dessert after lunch. So it's been really cool. And let's see. My dad got me a cake from this cake shop that I really like called, well, it's not like a small local bakery or anything. It's this place called Nothing Bundt Cakes. I like their bundt cakes because they're like thick and, wait, how do I say this without it sounding weird? They're thick and they're not dry and they're just really good. So ever since I got to sample one of their cakes years and years ago, I have had it for my birthday every year. And usually my mom would get it, but I asked my dad if he would get it for me this year, and as a birthday present. Because I thought about just getting one for myself, but I don't know. I'm really averse to going out of my way for things. So, which is like not a good habit, but I don't know. I'm like a sucker for delivery services and things like that. And I actually need to make an Amazon return of a really heavy item. I got a portable AC unit that I'm returning, and it's 53 pounds. And I'm not that strong, but I need to bring it back, and I'm just dreading it because I have until June 20th, I think, before my ability to return it ends. And man, I managed to bring it all the way downstairs and all the way out to my car and load it into my trunk. But the thing is, I can't lift it. So the way that I got it downstairs was by basically, I was spotted. Basically, I, but how do I explain this? I laid it down on the stairs and then just slid it all the way down the stairs. And then I slid it outside across the floor and across the ground. And then I like propped it up against the back of my car so that I could push it up and down, up and over into the trunk. And man, I feel so weak. I used to be able to lift things. Like, it used to be, I could just brute force carry that thing around if I had to. But I have lost my ability to. I've lost my strength. Alright, let me get away from this real quick. Yeah, they're still coming after me, but I think we'll be okay. So yeah, I've lost my strength, unfortunately. And, you know, it's because I'm not doing anything to keep it up anymore, and I know that that's my fault. But back in high school, I was in marching band, so holding my instrument up, I played the French horn, so during marching band I played the mellophone. Well, technically it was a marching French horn, it wasn't a true mellophone, but it was heavy. It was a brass instrument that I had to hold at shoulder height for a long time, repeatedly. So that built up some nice bicep and shoulder strength. And then I, for a while, worked at Lowe's doing curbside pickup. And so I would do. I just had to run away from the syndicate folks hurting the critters because I not really appropriate for a sleep video. But yeah, so I did curbside pickup at Lowe's and I built up a lot of strength because you know Lowe's sells a lot of stuff that's pretty darn heavy. People would place flooring orders, just a butt ton of tile, and I would if we like well that was another if somebody ordered a window AC unit, I would have to load that thing onto the cart, and it just I I also got 13,000 steps a day working that job. So that kept me pretty in shape. And I don't look out of shape now, but I feel out of shape. I am capable of way less than I used to be. And also I'd like to have it was nice to have muscle, you know? Like I feel so helpless. I want to be able to carry things on my own when I need to and not have to rely on other people all the time cuz I don't have a problem asking people for help, but people aren't always going to be there to help. So I want to be able to do things on my own. So I probably need to get to working out. It was just so convenient when working out happened during the thing that I already had to do every day. Like during band, during my job. It's made life a lot easier. Now that I work an office job, I have to be very intentional about making time for working out. And sometimes I'll like sit at my desk and there's not a whole lot I can do without looking like a weirdo to my coworkers, but I'll sit there and I'll try. What are a couple of things I've done? Like I will. You can see my base over there. I made a circle. Anyway, I will like bounce my legs, trying to like work out my calves, or just like I don't know. Like it sounds so silly, but like it's the best light cardio exercise I can do, I guess. I've done. I've tried using my stapler as a weight, because you know, if you lift, even if you lift a pencil, if you just do it over and over again, then your arms get tired over time. So it's like, well, if I just keep doing this, then but it takes so long for my arms to get tired lifting a stapler. So I kind of gave up on that. Um, Sometimes I'll go to the bathroom and I'll do like jumping jacks in there. I don't know, I really need to get back to walking my dog, but and I mean, it's not just for me, obviously she needs it too. But I have a hard time finding the time. And I know it's just excuses, but so I get home and I take care of the ferrets and then I shower and then I immediately hop on my computer and work on my videos because that's important to me. But also my dog's important to me and exercise is like staying healthy is important to me. There's too many things that are important, but also making time for my friends is important to me and things like that. So it just it feels like there's not enough time in the day for everything that matters. So you kind of have to pick and choose each day. What do you want to focus on? And then there's no time for like fun just by yourself. Well, there's hardly time for fun with friends, but then like fun by yourself. That's why I don't really play games outside of doing it for videos anymore because and doing it for videos isn't really playing. It's just walking around in a game world, which is still nice. I mean, look at the beauty of it. So many things to see and it's awesome. But there's no time to just sit and play a game anymore. And back whenever I was between jobs and I didn't really have anything important going on in my life, I was super into getting good at Overwatch when Overwatch 2 came out. And I had so much fun with that. And I felt like I was being productive because I was getting good at something that mattered to me. And I kind of miss that. Just getting to choose what you want to be productive doing. Even if it's not something that's like, it's not like it was making me money or anything like that. But I did make some pretty good friendships through it. And that's awesome and that's important. But and now I want to be really good at Marvel Rivals because I've been playing that with my friends and that's important to me. Like being able to not be dead weight whenever I'm playing with them. And I'm not bad because I've got that experience from Overwatch because that carries pretty well. You just have to learn the characters. But as far as like general game awareness and things like that, it carries over. But I don't have much time, and I have been spending more time doing things like that than I should. I've been spending a lot of time just resting lately, which obviously rest is important, but I've been slacking off a bit on my YouTube journey, which I'm still been getting out a video a week like I promised myself I would, except for 1 week that I missed because I was too sick to talk. I physically could not record a video. And you know what? If I hadn't been slacking out before that and I had built up a backlog of videos that were ready to go just in case something like that happened, then I wouldn't have had that problem. But I didn't. I put it off, and that is my own fault. And because of that, I ended up missing a week, even though I promised myself I was going to post video every single week in 2025. However, I'm not beating myself up over it. I know it sounds like I am, but I'm not. Because for me, 80% perfection is better to focus on than 100%. Because you can't be 100% perfect. It's impossible. And you know what? It was nice to take that week and rest. And I spent that week hanging out with a friend, and it was really nice. Like, I wouldn't have had the time to do that if I had been working on a video that week. So, I don't regret it. However, I would like to avoid missing an upload again. So, I really need to get on to get a backlog of videos going. And I don't know, I've been thinking about other types of videos that I could do aside from just these walking and talking videos. And I know that these are currently and maybe always my most popular. And I can understand it. It's, well, that I don't mean that in a like raggy way, but I just mean like it's a bit different from, not that it's totally different. Like, people are making sleep videos in video games, people talk during them, people are relaxing, more relaxing than me. But it's a little different from what I see other people do, and I've got my own unique set of experiences and stories to share, and my ability to just ramble, talk to myself for literal hours is not something that everyone can do, which is not, this isn't a skill that I ever thought would come in handy. But here we are. And you know what? I think that it's awesome if you can find your skills like that and figure out a way to make them work for you, make them, turn them into something great and unique and special. So, like, I can understand why these are more popular than, for example, the sleep stories or like reading Skyrim books. But I still like doing those because you know what? There's Skyrim books are interesting. I keep making it back to my base. You know what? Let's pull out Ragnarok and fly around for a bit. So, but I want to come up with other ideas for videos, other things. I do want to do a video where, not to spoil anything, but I want to do a video where I'm walking around Ark, recording like footage there, but reading the Explorer notes. So kind of like the Skyrim video, but with in Ark, and then with just probably walking around in Ark. I don't know. Well, maybe I'll do it with the Explorer notes on the screen so you can read along, because that was the intention with the Skyrim one, was that the books were on the screen so you could read along if you wanted to. And that one was actually pretty short because I had originally recorded about an hour of footage for that, but I was just getting too exhausted. I was still sick whenever I recorded that video, and I had to cut out so much coughing and throat clearing, and I was just getting sick of it, so I ended up making that a 30-minute video. And 30 minutes is not a short video in like the terms of the whole of YouTube, but for me it's a short video, and for like a sleep video it's definitely a short video. So I don't love that it was only 30 minutes, but you know what? It was what it was, and it's okay. But yeah, next time I do one of those, I'm probably gonna release the other 30 minutes of footage, but the next time I do one of those, hopefully it'll be longer. But yeah, I think being able to do a video like that, where I'm reading the lore of a game, will help me creatively rest. Because while I can just talk and do these videos, it's nice to be able to take a break from having to constantly come up with things to talk about, you know? And sometimes I get worried that I won't be able to think of anything to talk about, and then it's not even a problem, and I end up just going on, and before I know it, the 2 hours of recording has already passed. But sometimes I do end up sitting there and I'm like, I have no idea what to say next. But I mean, I do have things in place to help with that. Like I can bring up a random topic generator, which I actually forgot to pull up on my other screen this time. But that's okay, because if I need it, I'll just pause and pull it up. But yeah, and then I've got my list of stories that I could tell from my past, and then I have a note in my phone of topics that I want to talk about in walking and talking videos, but I haven't really been able to think of much. Like literally all I wrote on this one was to talk about my birthday being last week, and then a question that somebody had asked in a comment that I wanted to answer. So, which I will get to that later on. But I don't know, I just haven't. I feel like whenever I first started keeping the note, I was thinking of all these things that would be good to talk about in these videos, but now I'm like, is that really worth talking about? And it doesn't really matter what I talk about because, I mean, hopefully you end up falling asleep anyway, and then I'm just, well, I don't know. I guess maybe if you like to come back to the videos, then. So it does matter what I talk about, and I have to make sure that I'm not giving away too much information, not talking about anything controversial. But I don't know. It's more that I think whenever I'm trying to think of things to talk about, I'm like, is that too boring to talk about? I don't know. But I mean, I don't really know that that should actually be a concern. Because the whole point is just for me to ramble about whatever. And if it's too exciting anyway, then you'll be too focused on that. And maybe you won't fall asleep. I don't know. Maybe I should be captivating so that you can just. I'm keeping you from other thoughts that might be keeping you awake, you know? This is a really big egg. Oh, sorry. I need to remember to describe what I'm seeing on the screen. I don't think I've reacted to much so far in this video, but right now I'm looking at this nest with a really big, I think it's a dark type egg. It's purple with black markings that are kind of like tiger stripes and a star on top. Pretty cool. I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm gonna resist the urge. I am such a loot goblin. I always want to pick up the things that I see around the world. But no, I will resist. Yeah, Oh, there's a mamorist out here. I didn't know they spawned out here. Oh, wow, he just solved his problem in one stomp. He was being attacked, but no more. Yeah, so I was saying something. Oh yeah, I remember. It's been getting hot here. Yeah, I mean, summer's coming. And unfortunately, due to circumstances outside of my control, my ferrets have to live outside. So I've been thinking of ways that I could help keep them cool, and a friend of mine recommended building like a hideaway out of a styrofoam cooler and putting ice packs inside of that. So that's what I did. I got a styrofoam cooler, which I feel like they used to be $1 for those little cheap styrofoam coolers, but this one cost me like $4. Can you believe that? But anyway, it didn't even really take much construction, to be honest with you. All I did was I taped the lid on so they couldn't knock it off, and then I cut a square hole in the top, and well, that's pretty much it. And after that, I just stuck a towel in there, and then I replaced the ice packs that are inside. I don't do anything special with the ice packs. I basically just stick them in there under the towel, and then which it doesn't even really matter where I put them because the ferrets will just move the towel around anyway. I tried to put them under the towel so that they could lay on them without having to directly touch them, but they just climb underneath and lay directly on them anyway when they want to. Also, one of my ferrets decided it would be fun to try to destroy the styrofoam. So she's been scratching and biting at it. And at first I was worried that she was trying to eat the styrofoam, but she just spits it out. So it's still a little bit concerning, and I keep an eye on her, but not that I can keep an eye on her all day. But I mean, I think she just really likes digging and chewing on things that aren't meant to be dug in or chewed on. My other one used to dig in my house plants in the soil, and I built her own dig box. Well, built is a strong word for it, I guess. I basically cut off the top of a cardboard box, and so that it was like a shallow dish basically, and then filled it with soil so that she would have her own dirt to dig in and she wouldn't dig in my plants. But you know what? She was not interested in that at all. And I spent an hour pulling all the little rocks out of the soil so that she wouldn't swallow them or anything. And she did not respect my efforts. She didn't care about that dirt at all. All she wanted was the dirt in my plants, and I don't know how it was different than the dirt that I got her, but it was, apparently, to her little mind. So that was uh disappointing, annoying. They did, however, like the dig box that I made for them that I just filled with rice. So, and they enjoyed that for a bit. I don't know. They're very curious little creatures. So anytime I build them a new box to explore, like whenever it was cold outside, I took a cardboard box and insulated it by, first of all, I took an old thick jacket that I had and like basically wrapped the box in it so that it would help insulate it. And then I filled it with blankets and a bunch of paper bedding. And it stayed pretty warm in there, especially once they got in there. Their heat just radiates off the sides, off the inside. So, and they absolutely loved that box. But now that I put the styrofoam cooler in there, they absolutely love that box. So I'm glad that they are enjoying the things that I'm making for them. But they are such curious little creatures. And I love it. And man, I got them one of those 50-foot dryer tubes that are like 4 inches in diameter. And they love that thing. That thing cost me $100, but it was absolutely worth it because they have a blast. And then the cool thing about that is you can just keep twisting the tube into new shapes, and they get to explore a new tunnel every time you do that. And then you can wrap it around things. What I was doing at my old house whenever I could have them inside was I had a playpen set up for them, and then I cut holes into the panels of the playpen and stuck the tubes, like each end of the tube into the holes. So basically the tube would start and then end in the playpen. So you put them in the playpen and then they could go straight into the tube from there, is like what I'm trying to say. And then it would just lead back into the playpen. And then I would take the tube and wrap it around. The playpen was right next to the kitchen table. And at the time, it was just me and my roommate living there. So we only needed 2 out of the 4 seats at the table. So I wrapped the tube around the other 2 seats and like over the corner of the table and stuff so that they could climb up and around and through loops and stuff, and it was so much fun. And I had a part that would like go next to the window so that they could get a little bit of sunlight if they wanted to. And ferrets aren't like that big on sunlight. They are, I think the word is crepuscular or something like that, which basically means they're not nocturnal or diurnal. They thrive in the at dawn and dusk. That which, well, at least theoretically they do. Those are supposed to be their awake times. But it just, I mean, for one thing, they sleep like 20 hours a day. So their awake times are hardly ever. But even when they are awake, it just seems like they're awake at random times. I mean, they wake up whenever I go and check on them, which is at random times throughout the day. I mean, it's the time is pretty consistent on weekdays, but like on weekends, and I'll go and check on them just whenever. And one of my ferrets is deaf, so she doesn't usually know when I'm out there, but the other one notices as soon as she hears me open the cage door. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell when they would just naturally be awake, because they're almost always asleep when I go out there. It doesn't really, but then sometimes it's like the middle of the day and I go out there and one of them's eating or something, and then, so I don't know. Theoretically, their awake times are dawn and dusk, but realistically, I don't know. But yeah, that's as best as I can give you on information on that. But yeah, so they've been enjoying their little, I guess it's like a reverse igloo because it keeps the cold in. Their little, or like a reverse sauna? I don't know, what kind of room keeps the cold in and the heat out? I mean, other than just like a building with AC. But like an igloo, a sauna, they keep the heat in. An igloo keeps the cold out. So, how would you refer to my little styrofoam cooler creation? Well, I guess cooler is just a good word for it. I mean, that's literally what it is. So, but yeah, they've been enjoying their little cooler room, their little cave. I got some really cute pictures of them like hanging out of the hole in the front. Just more of my brown one than my white one. And the white one's the deaf one. Her name is Croissant, and the brown one's name is Mocha. But Mocha's a lot more interactive with me. Croissant, she's like my little buddy. Croissant just kind of does whatever, does her own thing. Like, she is always interested in me being there, but not because she wants me. It's just because she wants out. But Mocha wants me, and that makes me happy. And she'd also would just love to explore and be out, but she loves when I give her belly scratches, which makes me so happy. And she likes being held and walked around for a little bit. She is more tolerant to being held now that she's getting older than she used to be. And also, I do not understand. Ferrets do this thing, the lick lick bite. Like Duck Duck Goose, the lick lick bite, where they will lick you. Like whenever I'm scratching her, especially, she'll lick me and it's like grooming. But you always know that a bite is inbound. A bite is coming. Because they'll lick, 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 and then it's like a guessing game of when is that lick gonna turn into a chomp. Because before you know it, you've got little needle teeth digging into your arm. And who knows why she decided to do it, but she did. She decided to do it. So, but she's even worse whenever, if I have her like just hanging out with me outside of her cage, she will bite my feet, specifically the tops. And I know a lot of ferrets will go for toes. She doesn't go for toes. She just goes for the tops of the feet, which is not better, because the skin on the top of your feet is pretty thin. And also, there's no muscle to protect, not muscle or fat to protect. It just goes, they go right for the bone. Like, there's so many bones that are just right underneath the skin at the top of your foot, which is one of the reasons why foot tattoos are so painful. And I have one. I know how painful they are. Actually, the worst part of that was the fact that he was dry wiping it. So as he was doing the tattoo, he was wiping the ink and stuff away with a dry paper towel, and it felt like someone rubbing sandpaper on a sunburn. It was not fun, not pleasant. But getting a little bit off topic here. Yeah, being bitten on the foot by a ferret, also not a pleasant experience. And like I said, those little needle teeth are painful. Man, they hurt. And then she has she has bitten me in other places as well. But the one time that she bit me that it felt serious was, so ferrets are carnivores, right? They're little hunters. They're weasels. They're little hunters. And I had a dog toy in my hand, and I squeaked it, thinking that it would get her interested in playing in the same way that it does with a dog. But I don't know what happened. I think it just made her mad or something, because she did not get excited to play. She like went feral. She immediately turned, and I was sitting on the floor next to her. She immediately turned and just sank her teeth into my thigh, and I had holes in my leg. It was so weird because only one of them was bleeding, but there were four distinct punctures. And maybe it's because her teeth are so small, is why the other ones didn't bleed. Kind of like whenever you like get a shot at the doctor or something and it doesn't really bleed much. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, I had four very distinct holes in my leg after that. So I learned that she was not a fan of squeaker toys. But you know what she is a fan of? She absolutely loves crinkly things, like water bottles. And that's her favorite toy. Like, she'd be happy as heck with just a bunch of water bottles. And of course, if I give her a water bottle, I take off the small bits. Like, I take off the wrapper, and I take off the cap and the seal on the cap. But she will just sit there and chew on a water bottle over and over again. Or if you're squishing a water bottle near her, she gets laser focused onto it. And it's so cute. And they used to have a ball pit with like these tiny little ferret sized balls to play with. And whenever I had the tube hooked up to their playpen, they would grab the balls and take them into the tube and like leave them in the tube. It was so funny. But now I think all the balls are either lost or chewed up, because the couple that are in their cage right now are just deflated and squished and full of little teeth marks. So, and you know what? I tried to buy more, but they're not super cheap. They're kind of expensive to get the ones that are like ferret sized. And you can get ones that are people sized, but then they're way too big and the ferrets can't grab them. So, I don't know. I don't know. But they will find anything. And they have never been the thief type. A lot of ferrets are thieves. They'll steal your car keys or whatever, and you have to be careful. But they are curious, extremely curious. And one, one time, I had them hanging out in my room, and I had a Coke next to the bed, and I should have known better than to leave that there. But one of them came up and she started sniffing around the top of the Coke. And I was like, that's okay. But she knocked it over. And then Coke spilled. I was playing on my Switch. I was playing Breath of the Wild. And I think I was like eating, which is why I had a Coke. So I had the. I wasn't holding the controller, the Joy-Cons. I had them sitting next to me. And she spilled the Coke all over my Joy-Cons, and ever since then the buttons have not quite worked right. They get, I don't know, it's I want to say sticky but not really. Like it's not like they get stuck down like there's sticky residue in there or anything. They actually kind of get stuck up. So every time you pick it up after it's been the controller, like after it's been sitting for a few hours and you try to push the buttons, I mean, you can push them in, but it's like there's resistance at first. Like they kind of have to click into place, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm not that great at explaining things, but yeah. So, oh, and I forgot to finish what I was saying about my birthday earlier. Another friend of mine took me to Dave and Buster's for my birthday, and it was so much fun. And I really suck at throwing. I really like this is something that has always been true about me, but man, it's kind of frustrating because so there's we played the game where you have to throw balls at those little clowns and like knock them down. And man, I could hardly hit a single one. It was rough. And then there was the game. Actually, I did win at Connect 4 basketball, so I'm pretty proud of myself on that. And that requires throwing, and I did a pretty good job. What else? There was another one that required. I mean, so many of those. And skee ball. I am not good at skee ball. I've never been good at skee ball. I don't. I just do not know how to get the ball into the right holes. If anyone has any tips for me, let me know. I am open to whatever help I can get. You know what? This is totally off topic, but I'm looking at my character right now, and this is the first time I've ever, I think, noticed that there's a knife sheathed at the back of her armor. I don't even think I'm carrying a knife. It's kind of interesting. But, sorry, I'm not, I need to not discuss things that I can see on my screen because you are trying to sleep. And I need to be respectful of that. But, man, right now we're in the desert and there's just kind of nothing around. I mean, it is the desert. So let's go ahead and let's go to the snowy area. Oh, yeah, so. But overall, it was a super fun time. I had a blast. And birthdays are special. I think that everyone deserves to have a day that is just for them, just theirs, and all about them. And I think that that's important. And you should surround yourself with people who give you that. And if you're not surrounded by people who give you that, make sure that your birthday is special and everything that you want, you know, to a reasonable extent anyway, then you need to just surround yourself with new people if you're not getting that, because everyone deserves to have at least one day of the year that's all about them. And I don't know, birthdays are like, a lot of people don't like birthdays. So I find it kind of hard to navigate. I've always loved my birthday because my mom always made sure to make it special. So whenever I encounter people who don't like their birthday, I don't know how to handle it, I guess, because, well, whenever they tell me they don't like their birthday, I assume that that means they, like, don't want to celebrate it, like past trauma or whatever reason. Why is the game so bright? Hang on. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so I assume that they don't want to celebrate it because I figure if they're telling me they don't like their birthday, then, why would they want to celebrate it? Like, maybe it makes them, I don't know. But then, like, several times whenever I have made that assumption, I mean, you know what they say about assume. But when I've made that assumption, I don't know, because I'm afraid of, like, if I do try to celebrate it, then I'm going to upset them. But then it turns out they actually would have liked to be celebrated. They just, sometimes it's that they didn't want to ask for it, or they've never really gotten to celebrate it in the right way. Like, they've just always been disappointed in the past, or I don't know. So I guess I have a hard time whenever people tell me that they don't like their birthday. I want to be respectful of that, but I'm starting to learn that that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to be celebrated. And which makes sense because being celebrated feels good, but then some people, like, they truly just want to forget that their birthday exists because of past trauma or whatever, and like they don't care for the day at all, and they don't want people to know it's their birthday. They don't want I don't know. But I guess you just have to take the time to try to understand people when they say that they don't like their birthday. Ask them what they really mean by that. Like, what would make them happy? And but then you also gotta decipher, is the person saying they don't want to celebrate just because they don't want to ask for it, or because they genuinely don't want to be celebrated? I don't know. It's kind of a tough one. But all of this comes because whenever a friend of mine told me that he didn't want, or that he didn't like his birthday, I assumed that meant he didn't want to be celebrated. And I have a tradition with my friends where I will text them at midnight on their birthday because, for one thing, I, I like the honor of being the first person to tell them happy birthday that day. But another reason is, I mean, like I said, I love birthdays. I feel like your birthday should be celebrated from midnight to midnight. Like, midnight the day of to 11:59 last second. And so I like being able to make it special for people by kicking their birthday, or, well, not that it's on me to start their birthday, but I'm, it feels good to, at least I think, to have someone, like, recognize that, bam, it's midnight, which means it's officially your day, the day that's all about you. You know what I mean? So I like to do that for people and try to make it special. But I feel regret because I feel like I really slacked on that friend's birthday because other than texting it, I mean, didn't even know what to get him for his birthday. Getting gifts can be hard. I love giving gifts, and I love like getting gifts for people whenever I see something that reminds me of them. But having to come up with a gift idea is really difficult. I feel like that's a pretty universal experience. But so I didn't, and some people are really hard to shop for, especially if they just get themselves something anytime they want it, or if they're kind of like minimalistic and you don't want to get them something that they won't, or that's like useless. But, well, because like, say your friend really likes, I don't know, Star Wars. And you're like, you find this little Star Wars pin or this little Chewbacca pin, and it's so cool, or like a little stuffed animal, and it's so cute and it's so soft. But is your friend really gonna want a Chewbacca stuffed animal? You know? So, and you don't want to just get them, especially if they like don't really collect that kind of stuff, but it's so cute, and you don't know, I don't know. It's hard. You don't want to get them something that they won't enjoy. And then you don't know, like, sometimes they'll say that they like it, but you don't know if they're being honest or if they're just saying that to make you feel better. I feel like I'm spurring on a bunch of negative feelings about all this stuff. It's not my intention, but it's just, sorry, I keep like throwing myself off of cliffs and stuff. And I should be taking this flight and process more calmly and casually. But yeah, so I don't know. But at the end of the day, the important thing is just to keep trying to do your best. And we're not going to be perfect all the time or ever. But as long as we keep trying to be there, show up for people, and I mean, better to get them something than nothing at all, Like, just get them something to show them that you were thinking about them, even if it's something that they're like, oh, thanks. Well, I don't know, because then some people are like, I'd rather would have gotten nothing. I don't know. I don't know. Giving gifts is hard. I love giving gifts so much. Like, my biggest outgoing love language is, like, the biggest way that I show love is giving gifts. But it's kind of hard. Yeah, I don't know. It's the hardest when you have, like, there's the pressure of coming up with a gift. It's it's a different story when you come across like the Nezuko Tamagotchi that I gave to my friend that had been in my Amazon wishlist forever because I saw it one day and it reminded me of her. And so finally, when her birthday rolled around, I was able to order it because I had found it a long time ago. But whenever you don't have anything pre-prepared and you know a birthday's coming or whatever, it's so hard to come up with a good idea. And like I said, especially if you don't even know where to begin. Like, or you don't know someone well enough to know what kind of little things are gonna make them smile. I don't know. But I mean, all you can do is do your best and keep learning about that person and show up for them in the ways that you can. But, and sometimes the best birthday gift is like taking them out to do something that makes them happy, or writing them a sweet note saying how much you appreciate them. But you have to be careful with homemade gifts, because not that a note really counts as a homemade gift, but I mean, like, homemade gifts are a bit of a controversial topic, I feel like. Because, I mean, yeah, parents gonna love when their kid makes them a gift, but your friend probably won't care that much for the, I don't know, the art that you made. I don't know, because sometimes, yeah, like whenever I was in high school, I painted a picture of my friend's dog, and I spent hours working on it, and I was pretty proud of it, and I think he enjoyed it, but it's not that useful. And like, if somebody painted me a picture of my dog, I'd appreciate it, but again, it's not like a useful thing. I don't know. Handmade gifts are, you have to know your audience. Some people might really appreciate it, but then, and you can't just outright tell people that you don't like their handmade gift or you don't want a handmade gift because, you know, they spent time making it. Gifts are so hard. The point, like, what this entire conversation is boiling down to is just gifts are hard. And birthdays are confusing. It's confusing when people tell you they don't like their birthday. But at the end of the day, it's important to make them feel special either way. And sometimes the best way to do that, well, like, I'm learning. If someone, next time someone tells me they don't like their birthday, I am going to probably, based on past experiences, probably make the assumption that they just don't want to be publicly celebrated. And you know what? I know next time I'm just gonna ask. But this goes back to, they're not gonna say they want to be celebrated because they don't want to feel like they're asking for too much. I don't know. Okay, so, but see, you can't assume things because assuming things is bad. So I will discreetly celebrate their birthday. I will get them something small, maybe, and ask them where they, you know, if I can take them out to dinner or something. And at the very least, I don't know. Like I said earlier, I want, everyone deserves that day where they just get to feel special and the whole day is about them, even if that's on a small scale. And I don't know, I think that, like, one of the most important things you can do for someone is give them that day that's just for them. And I think that's important. So, not that you have to do that for all your friends necessarily. I mean, I think you should, at the very least, tell your friend happy birthday, get them something nice, even if it's small. Let them know that they're important to you, things like that. But family member, partner, whatever, you should, well, I'm not gonna tell you what you should do, but I think it means a lot to the people who are most important to your life. I think it means a lot to them to know that you care about making their day really feel like their day. So, I guess at this point, I have been talking about birthdays for like an hour. I've spent this entire hour talking about birthdays and ferrets, and I think that's it. And that's kind of impressive even for me, I think, that I was able to, to drag on those conversations for so long. I guess when I'm trying to work something out in my head, I just can go on and on about it for a long time. And man, whenever I have such an ability, unfortunately, to ruminate on things, like whenever I am mentally struggling with something, I try to see it from every angle and I try to figure out like how to solve the problem. I try to research the problem, like seek help. I don't really like to. Sometimes I'll ask people for help with the problem, but I tend to just prefer to try to figure it out on my own because I don't like to burden people with my problems. And I mean, everyone's got their own stuff. And obviously, your real friends are going to be there for you with through the things that you're struggling with. But everyone's got their own stuff going on. And so you can't expect people to solve your problems for you. So, I mean, if you're really struggling and you really need people around, of course, it's absolutely okay to go to your friends. But I think for me at least, if I can figure out how to solve my own problem, then I will. Because at the end of the day, the only person who is with you 24/7 is you. And you need to be able to find your own happiness, find happiness on your own. And I'm not saying that you need to like be alone all your life, but no one can change your feelings for you. No one can fix what you've got going on. You have to be able to solve your own problems. And sometimes solving your own problems involves seeking help from other people, but like I said, at the end of the day, you are the only one who can make yourself happy. And this is something that I was talking to a friend about recently as well. And he said that, but it's also something that I am well aware of because I've definitely learned in my life that you have to be able to find your own happiness and fulfillment. You cannot rely on other people to make you feel fulfilled or validated and of course it's okay to enjoy validation from other people, but you have to be able to find those things on your own at the end of the day. Because like I said, the only person who's with you 24/7 is you. And it's also why it's important to learn to love yourself. Because when you're stuck with someone that you hate all the time, that is painful experience. So, yeah, it's been one of the nice things about focusing on myself for the past, how long has it been? For like the past year, half a year, I don't even know. But just been focusing on myself and not that I needed to learn, like I never hated myself, but I definitely didn't really know how to just be happy alone in the past. And that's something that I have figured out how to do. And I think one of the biggest ways to achieve that is to have a project. Like you have to have a purpose. You have to find, I think your purpose isn't something that you're necessarily born with. It's something, I think I've talked about this in a past video actually, but you have to find a purpose, make a purpose, like create your space in the world. And like with these videos, this is the space that I've created. I am helping people by being here doing this, and I could be helping people in other ways if I wanted to. It's not like I was born for this specific reason. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you believe in, but and yeah, if you believe that everything happens for a reason, then I was meant to be right here, right now, saying these exact words to help you feel less alone in the world. And if that is the case, that is perfectly fine by me. I am happy to be here for that purpose. Uh, if you don't give yourself a purpose, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of not feeling satisfied. Because, well, I don't know, maybe phrasing it like that isn't the best. I don't know. Not that not feeling satisfied is a trap, it's just kind of a natural result of not feeling like you have a direction in life. And apparently there is a meteorite coming down in that direction. We'll watch it for a second. There it is. Pretty cool. Yeah, basically it was just like a purple meteorite that fell from the sky and then exploded on a cliff in the distance, which is the distance is a bit difficult to see in this darkness. It's nighttime right now. Look at those stars. So pretty. Sorry, I'm not trying to give you an upskirt shot. But yeah, so it's definitely easier to be happy by yourself when you have something to work towards. I think if you are trying to find happiness by yourself and all you do is sit around doing leisure activities, then, I mean, yeah, of course it's important to rest and do things like that, play video games, read a book, whatever. But if you don't have a project, I think it's a lot easier to feel like you're just wasting your life away. I'm not saying that you have to have a project to for your life to have meaning. Definitely not saying that. But I think it helps a lot with not feeling like loneliness is a bad thing. Well, I mean, loneliness and being alone are two different things. But being alone feels better when you give yourself something to work on. So, one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to focus on myself and kind of not like shut out my friends, but just take more time for myself, I guess, was because I wanted to work on my YouTube journey, and between my other channel and this one, I wanted to try to make the most of it that I could while I was focusing on myself. And like I'm back at the point where I'm trying to spend more time with the people that matter to me than I have. I don't know, it's like I said at the beginning, it just feels like there's not time for all the things that matter. So you have to pick and choose what's the most important at any given time. And that's another thing that I've realized lately is you can have like a general set of priorities in life, but ultimately priorities shift. Because let's say let's say you're a person in a relationship with a job and you have friends and you have hobbies and you have pets. So maybe your priority list looks like this. First, your partner is the most important thing, then your job, then your pets, then your hobbies, or then your friends, then your hobbies. I don't know. It could look like anything. Your order could be anything. But maybe that's your general list, but then day to day priorities are going to shift. Like going to work on time is more important than like staying in bed all day with your partner. As nice as that would be, your priorities shift during the day to where the like work becomes the most important thing at 8 a.m. or whatever. But then something happens, your partner really needs you, and then they shift back into first place. Or there's an emergency with your dog, you have to rush him, leave work, rush him to the vet, then your pet takes top priority. So you can have a general list of priorities in life, but ultimately, your priorities are inevitably going to shift throughout the day. And that's just the way that life works. So, and I think it's important, especially when you are picking the people that you want in your life, friends, partners, whatever. It's important for them to understand that while they may be a priority in general, they're not always going to be the number one priority. And like my dog, she's my child. She's everything to me. But unfortunately, I do have to leave the house at 7:30 to get to work at 8, and I don't get home until around 5 as I leave at 4:30. And as much as I would absolutely love to stay home all day with her, I can't, because if I did, I wouldn't have the money to take care of her. And so ultimately, she is my priority because I am working to provide for us, her and me, and my other pets. But on a day-to-day basis, I have to put work ahead of spending the whole day with her, taking her on a walk, whatever. So, I don't know. I don't even remember how I got on this topic, but it's just something I've been thinking about lately, about the way that you can have a set of priorities, but inevitably they're going to shift throughout the week, throughout the day, and that's just life. And when you have multiple priorities, it can be a bit difficult to always make sure that the people in your life know that they're a priority. But it's definitely important to do that. So, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, that's been on my mind lately. Just been thinking about things. I don't know. You ever just get like a period of time where you're super existential? Like you just think about life and what things mean. I don't know. I feel like that's me always actually. I I'm a chronic overthinker, a chronic ruminator, and it's my red flag, I guess. Well, many. I've got flaws, but I don't know. Is a flaw a red flag if you're working on it? Maybe. I don't know. I am aware of my red flags, my flaws. Oh, hang on. Alright, my pals and I took care of the threat. Yay. But anyway, so I'm very aware of my flaws, my red flags, which is why I am continuously working on myself, trying to correct them, correct my flaws. I'm never going to be flawless. I obviously know that, but I will never stop trying to work on myself. And I think that's important because everyone has flaws. You're never going to meet someone, you're never going to be in a perfect relationship or okay, sorry, I took care of that threat too. Yeah, you're never going to be in a perfect relationship or you're never going to be perfect. But I think as long as you and the person that you're with are always working to fix themselves, to be better for themselves and for you, then, because it can't just be for you. Like, if you're with someone who's only trying to get better for you, I mean, yeah, you can be a motivator, but you can't be the only reason. They have to have intrinsic motivation, because that is so much more powerful than extrinsic, like outside of themselves motivation. So they have to want to get better for their own sake. And when you do find that person, well, there are many people in the world who want to get better for their own sake, but when you find those are the people you want to hold on to. Because, like I said, you're never going to find someone who's perfect. But find someone who you make up for each other's flaws. Like, you can cover each other's weaknesses, and then the weaknesses that you have, that both of you are trying to work on them. And when you find that person, or one of those people, those are the people you want to hang on to. Those are the people worth making an effort for. And it's kind of I feel like a rare thing. So a lot of people want to work on themselves, but they're not actually willing to put in the effort, because it takes a lot of effort. It takes time and energy and lots and lots of time. But it's worth it. You come out better on the other side, and you become worthy of surrounding yourself with better people, because you have put in that effort to work on yourself. And speaking of working on yourself, not just in the way of what am I trying to say? Like the flaws and mental health sort of way. There's also just the building skills sort of way. I have been working on I've always wanted to learn Spanish because I live in Texas and there are a lot of Spanish speaking people in Texas. And it would just be so useful to know it, but I've always put off learning it, even whenever I've picked up Duolingo or whatever and tried to give it a shot. Ultimately, I drop it. I end up not sticking with it for very long because I don't know, I just get bored. I hyperfixate on it for a while, then I just get bored. But that's not how you actually build a skill. You have to be willing to push through the boring part, and then it's so worth it in the end whenever that skill pays off and you can finally have conversations with people who speak that language. And And I also want to learn how to play the ukulele so that, because I got a ukulele because I wanted, I love singing. It's one of my passions. And I really wanted to have an instrument that I could play while singing because in the past I've like performed with people, but I have never been able to personally play an instrument while singing. Like the only instrument I know how to play is the French horn, and you can't play that while singing because you have to blow into it. But so I had like 1 year for my birthday, one of my friends had asked me what I wanted, and so I said I wanted ukulele. And I had meant like one of the super cheap ones off of Amazon, but he gifted me like a nice one, which I really appreciate. But and it sounds so pretty, but I don't put in enough effort to learning it. And part of it is just I don't have much time. Like um, almost all of my free time for the past, shoot, 8 months has been spent doing YouTube, which I don't regret and I'm going to continue doing. But what about the time before that? I've had these ukulele for a while. I could have learned Spanish a long time ago, and neither of those things did I put enough effort into. I just played a lot of video games. Which, again, like, it's not that I regret the time that I spent. Because, I mean, I made a lot of friends through video games. I had fun. Got to enjoy these beautiful creations that developers have put tons of time and effort into and heart. But imagine how cool it would be if I could freaking speak Spanish to someone. And that probably would be a more useful skill than ukulele, but I also want to be able to play the ukulele. Well, I mean, it's like the biggest thing that I'm struggling with the ukulele is strumming patterns and then just being able to quickly change like finger positions. But it's not like extremely difficult to get the basics down where you can play like a super simple song like You Are My Sunshine. But it'd be cool to be able to do like, oops, I just threw a pal sphere on accident. But it would be cool to be able to play a more complex song like Over the Rainbow, or do a complex strumming pattern and be able to sing my heart out and sing and play at the same time. Because right now I can only do that by strumming the most basic, just downbeats. So, yeah. Probably Spanish would be the more useful thing to focus on right now because it's not like I'm going out and performing any ukulele pieces at this point in my life. But still, it'd be cool to learn. I don't know if I've ever been to this mushroom area. I'm flying towards this island that looks like it's covered in mushrooms. That's interesting. On a completely unrelated note, should I make one of these in Minecraft? I've never been a fan of Minecraft. Well, I don't want to say never, cause I have, like, whenever I was a kid, I would play the mobile version, but I don't know. I think just the graphics are off-putting. Not that I'm not trying to be. I don't mean it in a snobby kind of way. I just mean like I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. And also the fact that the player base of Minecraft is generally quite young. also doesn't appeal to me. I have a similar issue with Fortnite. But and I have also tried to play Fortnite. I just can't really get into it. I mean, maybe I just need to give it more of an effort. But I don't know. oh no, maybe I have been here. This is actually looking kind of familiar. But yeah, but I was thinking, I do own Minecraft because I had bought it for a video that I made where I built Pokemon like 2D pixel art in Minecraft, which honestly, not the greatest video I've ever made. I didn't talk during it, and I didn't really edit it much, so it was pretty boring. But I mean, I don't know, I just wanted to build some Minecraft pixel art because I had done that. I had made Pokemon pixel art like back when I was a kid on my mobile Minecraft, and but it was so tedious and I kept messing up and I didn't want to make a bunch of cuts every time I messed up because I felt like the jagged cuts would make the experience less smooth. So, I don't know, I never made a video like that again. Not to say I never will, but I probably won't. I don't know. I don't know. But maybe I'll make a walking and talking video in Minecraft. I can always put it on peaceful mode. It's like making that's a game that I know has a peaceful mode. So, or if I did it in creative, then I wouldn't have to. Yeah, I probably would do creative because then I wouldn't have to worry about eating or anything like that either. So, that'd probably be a good game to do one of these in. Plus, Minecraft's popular, so hopefully a lot of people would enjoy it. But I don't know, I just have this aversion to playing Minecraft. Uh, but I mean, for something like this, yeah, it might be okay. Oh, and I want to do Breath of the Wild as well. I finally got a capture card so that I can make one of these in Breath of the Wild. I just have not, and I was gonna make this week's video be a Breath of the Wild video, but I didn't end up getting the chance to, or I guess I didn't make the time, if I'm being honest, to figure out how to work the capture card, and I was worried I wouldn't have time to do that. Oh, I just ran over that cat. I'm so sorry. I was worried I wouldn't have time to figure it out and record 2 hours of footage tonight. So instead, my plan is after, because I actually started recording kind of early tonight. So I should have like half an hour to play with to try to. Sorry, I'm looking at this. There's this giant skeleton on the ground. It's really cool, but I was running into trees while trying to look at it because I was not paying attention to where I was actually going. And I wonder what this giant skeleton would even be, because there's no pals that are that big. Although I think, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I think I had seen a theory of like there's this giant whale pal on the some of the promotion for the game or something. Maybe it's that. Probably. I don't know. Pretty cool. I like giant skeletons in games because they really make you think. Like, what? Like, trying to imagine a creature that's actually this big. And this, for anyone not seeing the screen, this skeleton is, like, one of the vertebra is about the same size as the giant bird that I'm riding on. So this whale or whatever it is would have been absolutely massive. But pretty cool, pretty awesome. Um, what was I talking about? I don't know. Minecraft. I don't know if I was still talking about Minecraft or not. But yeah, back whenever I was a kid, I would spend hours just sitting on my phone building pixel Pokemon art in Minecraft. And I was so proud of them too, because it's it's really cool. Like, I mean, all you have to, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is essentially copy like the pixelated Pokemon artwork by by placing like colored cloth blocks in the game. And there's more color options now than there used to be back at that time whenever I was building those. So, and for the colors that cloth doesn't have, there's other materials that do have them, like different browns on the bricks and stuff like, or clay pieces and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. If you there's a pixelated game that you like and you want to make pixelated character art, you can do that in Minecraft. You can do anything in Minecraft. Man, the insane things that people build are just crazy to me. Like, if you've never seen impressive Minecraft builds, you should totally look at it. And I don't know how you could have possibly not seen at least one impressive Minecraft build in your life at this point, because Minecraft has been around like forever. Not forever, but Minecraft has been around for a long time now, and people have, I mean, it's quite a popular game, and I feel, I don't know if it's possible for anyone to have not seen at least one impressive Minecraft build in their life, even if they don't care about Minecraft at all. But if you're watching this, listening to this, I mean, this video is literally set within a game, a survival game, nonetheless. So I'm sure if you're listening to me right now, you have seen Minecraft stuff. But anyway, if you haven't, you should. People build like famous landmarks and they recreate actual photos by like using the blocks as pixels, and they make working, like someone made a working calculator many years ago. Whenever, oh, I've seen people build other games within Minecraft by like working versions of I'm not even the things you can do. I can't even give justice to the amount of things that you can do and the amount of things that people have done. It's just insane. And now I'm thinking about, this sounds off topic, but it's not quite. I was thinking about the fact that I have, not that I've seen it, but I feel like someone's probably built a working replica of like Disney World or a theme park or something. And now I'm thinking about Universal's new, what do they call it? Epic Universe? Like they've added or are adding new parks. They're adding a Mario World and a How to Train Your Dragon World and Harry Potter Paris, and I think the last one is like a monster world based on Frankenstein and stuff like that. So, which I feel will be the least popular of those, because I mean, you compare Frankenstein to, while Frankenstein is popular and well known, you compare that to Mario or How to Train Your Dragon or Harry Potter. I mean, I personally feel like they could have come up with a better idea for the fourth park, but I mean, there are plenty of people who love the monster stuff, so I'm sure it'll still be popular. But compared to Mario, I mean, come on. But I really want to go see those new parks, and I don't know if they're finished building them in. I don't even know if they were building them in Florida or California, but I have not been to the one in California. I have been to the one in Florida. Um, I think just once in my life. Well, I don't know. We went in 2020, and which was awesome because even though we obviously had to wear masks everywhere, which, in the Florida heat, summer heat was not super fun, it was so worth it because we got to ride everything multiple times. Hagrid's motorbike ride, which is or was at the time the most popular ride by far, and if you got to ride it even once, you were lucky. We got to ride it 5 times in one day because there was nobody at the park at that time because, well, it was 2020. So that was absolutely a once in a lifetime incredible experience, and I am super happy that I got that experience. But I yeah, I really love amusement parks, particularly, I mean, roller coasters are fun, but like, particularly, I just love feeling like I'm being transported into a different world. And especially if it's like Disney or Universal, where those worlds that they're transporting you to are worlds that you've seen in movies and media. It's so cool to be able to feel like you're stepping into it. Oh, and in the old, like the England Harry Potter world, like, because I don't want to just say the Harry Potter section, but now there's also a Paris one based on the Fantastic Beasts movies. I believe in the original Harry Potter world, there's, I think it's on Gringotts Bank. There's a dragon that breathes actual fire, and it is so cool. Just, it feels so magical. They really put some insane effort into making Disney and Universal and as incredible as possible. Also, I do not understand how Disney can set out their Halloween and Christmas decorations overnight. Like, how they get all of that stuff out of storage and set up in the park between the time that Disney closes, because I think Magic Kingdom closes at like midnight and then opens. I don't remember what time it opens, but let's say it opens at like 8 or 9 a.m. That's only 8 or 9 hours that, and that's no, even less than that because at midnight they're still shuffling people out of the park. Like the fireworks happen at midnight, so they have to get all those people. So let's say the people are out by 1 a.m. and let's say it opens at 8, which is just a guess, but that's only 7 hours to get all those decorations, the giant Christmas tree, or like the car that there's this. I went to Disney California over Halloween, and there was like in Cars Land, there was like a statue of a car that was dressed up as. Oh, I forget what it was exactly. It was something Halloweeny. But like, how do they pull that stuff out? And they decorate the signs. Like, they add pumpkins to the sign for the parks. How do they do that in so few hours? I do not understand. It's like magical to me, which is the whole point. But I don't know. And they must have a really good crew and really good equipment, heavy duty, heavy lifting equipment. I mean, color me impressed. I am genuinely insanely impressed how they're able to do that because I never really had thought about it until I went and saw it. But I guess I just assumed that they took a few days to do it. They would like work at night over and then things would just appear each day. But no, they do everything in one night. I don't know how they do it. But yeah, again, color me impressed. Oh, absolutely super cool. I wish Disney and Universal weren't so expensive. I mean, I get it. like they can easily get away with being that expensive because people are gonna pay it. But man, I would just love to be able to to go all the time. But maybe it's better as a every once in a while kind of thing. My mom absolutely loved Disney. She was an absolute Disney adult in the in the best way. And I know Disney adults are kind of cringe, but is it cringe to say cringe, man? People have their opinions about Disney adults, but man, it's kind of amazing to watch somebody be able to cater to their inner child by like immersing themselves in the world. It was like someone who loves Disney so much, you put them at Disney World and they just have the time of their lives. And that's such a super cool thing to watch. And I love Disney World because, again, it feels so magical. But I also know I will never be able to love it as much as my mom did. So I've also never been there without her. Oh, the day that I do that for the first time will be probably hard. But how could you ever be sad at Disney? Also, Universal, I've gained such a strong appreciation for dinosaurs ever since I started playing Ark. And Universal has the Jurassic Park stuff. Like the Jurassic Park ride is a water ride, and it's so cool. They've got the animatronics with the dinosaurs and and then at Disney they've got the ride that's literally called Dinosaur, I think. Or no, wait, is it? I'm pretty sure. And you have to on the ride, you're riding in this Jeep. And you drive around, you see all the animatronic dinosaurs in that ride, and that ride has such a particular smell. Not like a bad smell, but like the what's the word? Like the hydraulics that power the animatronics and the movement and stuff. The air that it pumps out has such a particular smell to it. So it makes that ride just have this very unique smell. But it's so cool. And I used to be so scared of the Carnotaurus on that ride, on the Disney dinosaur ride, because it's one thing to have the animatronic like next to you, and which because at multiple points in the ride it's like next to you and then it kind of seems like it's chasing you, but then there's one part in the ride, not to sorry, it's a little bit of a spoiler I guess. There's one part in the ride where it's kind of above and in front of you, and so basically the Jeep that you're driving in goes toward it and under it, and then it like comes down at you like it's gonna grab you. And even as an adult, it feels like it gets so close, like one day it's actually gonna touch me. And so that always, like, not that I was scared in the way that I wouldn't ride the ride, but it certainly freaked me out at that point of the ride every time as a kid, and kind of now. But but it's so cool, and I love things like that. Because roller coasters are one thing. Like, you go to a place like Six Flags or something, roller coasters are fun. You get the thrill, the adrenaline, but there's nothing like being immersed into the ride. It's just so awesome. That's why I love Disney and Universal. And like back to the Hagrid's motorbike ride at Universal, that's a roller coaster, but you get to sit on it like a bike and like a motorcycle, and the way that it drives, it's just so cool. So cool. And then at Disney, there's that at Animal Kingdom, Disney World, there's the Mount Everest ride, which is a roller coaster, and it's a pretty basic roller coaster, but it's pretty cool because there's a part in the ride where you're going forward, but then it gets to a part of the track where it makes the track looks like it's been like ripped away. And so then you're like, well, where are we gonna go? There's no track. And then it starts taking you backward. And it's like you're riding it for the first time. It's so unexpected, and it just like catches you off guard, and then you do loops in the dark, and then you see like the silhouette of the Yeti, and it's just so cool. Even what theoretically would just be a basic roller coaster, they make into a cool and unique experience. So I I love the things that they do with Disney World and Universal. It's just so cool. And as an adult, it really makes you feel like a kid again. And I think that it's important to have things that can make you feel like a kid again. Because adults don't get enough chances to play. And I think it's important to make time for play. Even if that's just playing with your dog. I mean, because like, we can't all afford to go to Disney World all the time for play. But like, as an adult, make time to play video games, play with your dog, have a game night with your friends, whatever. Because it's important for like stress relief and emotion management. But for emotional management, do not play games that make you rage, please. Ugh, Pokemon Unite makes me rage. For some reason, MOBAs, like multiplayer online battle arenas, like Pokemon Unite, League of Legends. I haven't played that much League of Legends, but I did play a lot of Pokemon Unite back in the day. Back in the day. And they make me rage like nothing else. I don't know why. It just. Maybe it's the slow pace of the game, because in Overwatch, you die and but everything's like happening so fast. But then like Pokemon Unite, you're running away and like the battle's happening kind of slowly, so you just like see your health being chipped away and it feels so helpless. And then like and then when you die, you lose so much. Like you don't just die and have to go back to the start. You lose the points that you were holding on to, and that hurts, especially if you end up losing a bunch, because you lose more. Like the less often you die, the more you lose when you do die. So man, that can really hurt at times. And I guess it's something about those things that make me angry when playing it. But yeah, I just avoid the game nowadays. But while I stop and give you this view of mountains, snowy mountains in the distance, giant tree, the giant tree on the left, the forest in front of us, the beach to the lower left, and some cliffs, I am going to pull out this question that I actually meant to answer a while ago. And I got so caught up in talking about all the things that I was talking about that I forgot. But before I forget, I have a question that actually came through just today. Well, not today as of the release of this video, but today as of the day that I'm recording this video. I had this question from Xenon3193. And this is in reference to a Skyrim walking and talking video that I had made. But the question is, if you had to pick between the main quest, Dawnguard, and Dragonborn, which would you say was your favorite to play through? And I answered this this question in the comment, but I want to answer it in the video as well to give it a bit more of an in-depth answer. But I And I had to sit and think about this question for a while because I will always be fond of the main quest because, I mean, it's the main quest. There's so much nostalgia tied to it. And I even remember whenever I was fighting Alduin, for the very first time, it was chore day. I mean, I was in high school and it was chore day at home. So thankfully, my parents were like letting me play the game, but whenever the laundry got finished, I would have to pause and then go like fold the clothes, move the stuff from the washer to the dryer, etc. So I remember I was in the middle of my fight with Alduin and I had to pause with his like big scary face in the middle of the screen and go fold the clothes and then come back to it. But you know what? It made it actually kind of more enjoyable because I got to I just made that frog mad. But I got to have something to look forward to when I came back. Like, have a reason to try to be efficient with my, or at least maybe to be quick about my folding of the clothes. And so that actually made it more enjoyable. But, and whenever I would try to fold clothes, I'm getting off topic, but whenever I would try to fold clothes and like watch TV at the same time, I could not do it. I just got so distracted. But I didn't want to not because then it's just boring otherwise. I don't know. I have that same problem like at work too. I don't want to just sit and listen to music or whatever because I get bored, but if I try to play music or a YouTube video or Netflix or whatever, I get distracted. So I have to try to find a YouTube video that I can mostly listen to, but it still keeps my brain entertained. So I've been watching a lot of Moist Critical's videos where he just talks about like dumb people on the internet. But anyway, back to the point of the question. So I have so much nostalgia for the main quest line. Plus, it's all about dragons, and Alduin's super cool. I have an Alduin Funko Pop, and I love it so much. But anyway, I would have to say that the Dragonborn DLC, if I had to pick a favorite, would probably be my favorite just because of the sheer amount of things that it added to the game. Like it added Solstheim, a whole new island to explore. And with like and Solstheim is pretty big, like all things considered, it's pretty spacious. And there's new quests, there's the Skull Village, there's Reiklings, there's Telmithrin, there's so many cool things. And the Black Books are a whole new experience, like a whole new realm that you can explore. That was added with it. Also, the rage that I felt when Mirax stole dragon souls right out from under my nose. Like, I would kill a dragon, and then he would take the soul, and I was so mad because I was like, those are mine. And now I have to go beat you before I can get to keep my own kills. So just for the sheer plus the dragon riding shout, so well, a bit disappointing because I thought I'd be able to control where the dragon flew. No, it just, if you haven't used it, it just makes you fly in circles because that's the dragon's normal flight pattern. So basically the dragon just keeps its normal flight pattern, and you can tell it what enemies to attack, but you can't tell it where to go. So kind of stinks. I feel like somebody made a mod where you could have more control, but I never used it. Or I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure I saw it. But yeah, never used it if it does exist. So, well, I also didn't have a PC back whenever I first played and I was playing a lot. So I only got a PC for the first time like a few years ago. And the main mods that I've played since I got a PC on Skyrim were the Skyrim Together mod, and I only played that for a little bit before one of the companion's quests broke it. Like the quest wouldn't continue. Farkas would just stand there and not turn into a werewolf, and the Silver Hands would just like not do anything. But and then the other one that I did was the badly translated mod, where they took the dialogue from Skyrim and ran it through 40 different, like, ran it through Google Translate 40 different times in a bunch of different languages and then back to English. So everything, all the dialogue becomes super weird. That mod is funny. That mod is super funny. If you haven't watched a video using that mod, I highly recommend it. It's hilarious. Especially, I think formerly Blue is the creator who, he's a YouTuber who made a video on it, but like I think he and somebody else actually created the mod together. So I'd recommend his videos, anybody's videos on it, but like especially his, because he deserves the credit for creating the mod and having it be his idea. But yeah, I streamed badly translated Skyrim for a bit back when I was streaming, but I don't know, streaming makes me anxious. Posting a video, I don't have a problem with. Like doing YouTube, have no problem with that. But for some reason, streaming, like being in front of a live audience, just makes me so much more anxious. I don't know why. It just does. But yeah, okay, back to the question. um, yeah, I definitely have to say the dragon, even though it's a hard decision, but just because of the sheer amount of things that the Dragonborn DLC adds, I would have to say that that's my favorite out of the three. Although Serana is a pretty awesome follower. I've never chosen the Vampire Lord option because I was always a werewolf. And purely for aesthetic reasons, I just like being a wolf person more than I like being a demon person with the Vampire Lord thing. So, although I do think that the Vampire Lord abilities are better from what I've heard, but I like to use the mod that adds werewolf, like adds more perks to being a werewolf, because I think the Dawnguard DLC adds perks to being a werewolf, which is good because the game really needed something like that. But there's a mod that gives you like more perks, better perks. So I like to use that mod to make things a little bit more better when I'm a werewolf. But yeah, because actually just being a werewolf is a bit underwhelming in the vanilla Skyrim. Because they're kind of underpowered, really. I'm being chased by a Rushor. Ooh, thanks. Here we go. Freedom. But yeah. So, to answer the question, the Dragonborn DLC is my favorite, though it is a tough choice. Although you didn't ask me about the Hearthfire DLC, that should definitely be a contender. I mean, being able to build your own mini mansion, pretty freaking cool. The house that I chose, I always get mixed up. It's Winstad Manor, but I always want to say that it's Lakeview Manor because it's on a lake. But no, it's the one close to Solitude. That's the one I always choose. Near Falkreath Hold, I think? It's the one near Solitude. I'm pretty sure it's Winstad Manor. But, also the one very close to the abandoned shack where you get kidnapped and taken to by Astrid during the Dark Brotherhood quest. And I always like to adopt Lucia and... Always Lucia. The other one, I don't know, only being able to adopt two kids kind of stinks because there's so many kids on the street of Skyrim, and I I tend to leave, not always, but I tend to leave the ones in the orphanage just in the orphanage because they already have a bed, a place to stay, someone taking care of them. I mean, once you remove Grelid from the situation, then I think the other girl's name is Constance. She's a pretty good caretaker. So I feel that the kids are in good hands with her. But you gotta, like, Sophie, I don't remember, is in Windhelm, and that poor little girl in Windhelm, that's such an awful place to live. So she's one that I like to rescue. And then, but Also, the boys, like the one that lives in the stable and then the one that works in the mines, I feel bad about them, but I don't know. I just always want to save the girls. Maybe I'm biased because, well, in case you didn't know, I am a girl. But, yeah, I don't know. Oh, but the best follower in Skyrim is absolutely Inigo. But I mean, he is a mod. So if you're going vanilla, no mods, then you gotta go Serana. But of course, that also requires a DLC. So if you're going no mods, no DLCs, shoot, I don't even know. I guess just go with your preference. My main follower and the one that I ended up marrying in my first playthrough was Marcurio, which is the one that you can hire in the Bee and Barb in Riften, which I don't know. I think I just hired him one day and I was like, well, this guy's been hanging around me. He's flirting with me. Let's get married. But you know what? He takes care of my children while I literally never come home and stay out all day adventuring and who could ask for more? What a good husband. Yeah. But that is, I suppose, where we'll end the video for today because I have been talking for the past 2 hours and 10 minutes and now I have to go and figure out my capture card so that my next video can be in Breath of the Wild. That'll be exciting. I just have to figure out how to make the monsters not attack me because that'll be my next challenge. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really always appreciate you watching these videos and being a part of it and the people who comment, like, that's freaking awesome. I love that you enjoy my silly little videos enough to want to be a part of it and be my little community. I love y'all. I love my community so much. You're all so sweet and wonderful and I truly could not ask for more. I appreciate you very much. But thank you for being here. I hope I was able to help you sleep or keep you company. And I hope that I was able to keep you entertained, keep your brain busy with my stories and talking. You have a wonderful rest of your night or day, and I will see you next time. Good night.